Good morning, Bella Vista. Welcome to another In with Flynn. My guest, as always, is Mayor John Flynn. Welcome, John.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Well, you know, it's time for another city update.
Yeah.
Yeah? Short city council meeting the other night, but you got a lot accomplished.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I want to know, we needed pictures of you out there ringing that bell.
Yeah.
Did you win?
Well, you know, we had the bell ringing challenge for Salvation Army, and the first time I was involved, and what they do is they get mayors from different cities, and they all ring the bell for 2 hours and see who collects the most. So I thought it was a daunting challenge because I was against Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, Benton County, Barry Mooring from Benton County, and Centerton, and Bella Vista. So obviously those are all some pretty big, strong cities, and some of them, you know, stand out in front of Walmart and get a lot of traffic. Yeah. So I was in front of Allen's, and Steve Morrow of Allen's was very helpful. You know, he put a notice on Facebook and was very supportive of it. And so I didn't know how it was going to go. And even after I did it, you know, people are coming up putting money in, but you don't really know how much it is. They take the pot away and say, hey, we'll count it and let you know. So a couple of days later, I was just hoping not to finish last. And a couple of days later, they gave the results, and I was surprised that Bella Vista finished first.
Really?
So, yeah.
Good going.
So I felt great about that. And it was interesting when people came up, some of them I would ask them, hey, did you know about the mayor's chance? And they were just giving just like they would anytime.
Yeah.
And some people said, oh, yeah, I knew about it, so I wanted to show up and put some money in the hopper. Anyway, we raised $800-some in the 2 hours, and the next closest city was 200 or 300 behind. So, but all the cities together raised $2,400. So I think from Salvation Army's point of view, you know, it's a way to kind of juice the participation and do something a little different, get people involved. So I thought it was a nice thing. It's a good charity, and but I was really impressed with the people of Bella Vista, you know, and how they show up and are so generous. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's fabulous, and yes, thanks to big thanks to Steve, because he really promoted this in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah.
So fabulous job.
Yeah.
The budget passed.
Yeah, at the city council meeting the other night, we passed our budget for 2024. That was one of the big things that happened. And just let people know our revenue is we're predicting it to be $21.6 million. That's in the general fund, and our expenses would be $20.4 million. So we're not spending more than we're taking in. Mm-hmm. And there's also about $3 million. You know, there's a separate budget for the streets committee. By law, you have to keep that separate, and that gets about $3 million. So really, we could take in about $25 million. But I thought people might be interested to know the biggest revenue items are county sales tax. That's about $9 million a year. And city sales tax is about $4 million a year. And the property tax, city property tax, is starting to come up. It's about $3.5 million. Most of the property tax goes to schools, but we do get about $200 a house for the city. And those are the big items and the big expenses, and those three have always been in that order.
Okay.
Since I've been on council 8 years, the whole time, those were the three biggest. And the three biggest expenses has always been the same. The fire department is $8 million, and the police department is $7 million, and the streets is about $4 million. And they've always been in that order. And one of the reasons it costs as much as it does, the police and fire, you know, it's 24/7.
Yes.
Somebody's always on duty, so you have pretty significant personnel costs. So.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we've been pleased with the way things have been going this year. Our revenue's a little more than we thought it would be. You know, we had the results through October, and the revenue's a little more than we thought it would be, and our expenses are below what the budget was. So things have been going pretty well for the city. We're happy about that. Just for public interest, we now have 213 employees, and I believe that's the most we've ever had. It's been kind of a steady growth as the city grows.
Is that police, mostly police, or?
Fire actually is the biggest. It's 70-some, and police is not too far behind. It's the second largest. So, so I like to say that most of the employees are doers, because between police and fire and the streets, it's all people who are kind of physical, hands-on jobs, and that's about 180, 190 of the 213 employees. So. We don't have a lot of administration. At City Hall, we actually have 10 people in the City Hall, and a couple of those are part-time. So, you know, we keep the administration pretty lean, and I kind of like it that way. I think it works well, and been real happy with the way things have been going.
Excellent,
so, yeah.
Excellent job. Okay, so let's talk about the council meeting here and some things that were approved, because pretty important thing happened with the police cams.
Yeah, it's ironic because, you know, December is kind of a quiet meeting. Usually less people, less citizens come to it because, you know, they're busy with Christmas and whatnot. But there were some important things. We passed the budget, and that's pretty big. And we had a big change this year on the police side. We got body cams for the first time, or are about to get. And we needed to have a new system anyway for the dash cams, you know, in the police cars. And we, you know, more and more there's kind of pressure. It's considered the norm to have body cams. And they do come in handy as far as showing what actually happened if you ever have a dispute. Actually, our attorney was a big advocate of it, because you know, if there's ever any dispute or anything, you can see what really happened. And so we are getting the body cams. It's pretty expensive. It was $784,000. So we're spreading that over 5 years. It's $157,000 a year. But the police chief looked into different systems and has come up with one he feels is going to be good. Most people don't think about it, but it takes a lot of storage space also.
Yes.
To
we
save,
know about that here.
Yeah, yeah, to save all the film and whatnot.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
So.
Well, that's a big thing that you've accomplished this year. So.
Yeah. So it'll take a few months at the beginning of the year to get it fully implemented, but it was something that was overdue, and so we're happy to have taken that step.
Let me ask you a question. I should have asked a little earlier here. Are you completely staffed up with the city now, or do you still have some vacancies?
We probably have 1 or 2 vacancies. You know, it's kind of a moving target. But we had a lot of success this last year in getting open positions filled. And I've been kind of encouraged lately. As far as the job market, you know, it was really hard to get people for a while, and we've been really pleased with the quality of the people we've been able to hire lately. So we feel good about it from that point of view.
Excellent,
so,
excellent.
Yeah.
That's important, because it's hard to get everything done that you need to if you don't have enough folks to do that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so something new has happened with the animal shelter, or you've renewed tell us about the animal shelter.
Oh yeah, that's another thing happened at the meeting. We renewed the animal shelter contract for another year, and basically what we do is we pay them a certain amount of money for each dog and each cat, and I believe it's $110 per dog and $50 per cat. And then we also pay them $5,000 a month, and this year we raised that to $5,250. So it was a 5% raise, I guess. But the total amount it costs a year is it's a little over $100,000, maybe close to $110,000. It's, you know, the animal shelter is a separate nonprofit entity, but what they do is very much in our best interest, the city's best interest. So we've always helped them out some. They do a lot of fundraising, as you know.
Yes.
They're really good at that, actually.
Yes, yes.
And but we have always tried to help them out because it's in their best interest and our best interest also. So it's a great organization, and we're really pleased to have them as part of the city.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right there. Let's see, something else that's happened, because I got my bill. The trash collectors, excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah, Republic Services
Yes.
is our trash service, and they have we had a contract with them that was for 10 years, and it was through 2022. Then have a couple of 5-year options to renew. So we've renewed it a few years ago for 5 years. So right now it goes through 2027. And each year the rate gets adjusted. And the contract said, you know, it talks about the CPI for Consumer Price Index for trash, water, and, you know, there's all these little subcategories. So that went up about 5.4%. As people know, there's been a fair amount of inflation, but there's some negotiation in there, so we were able to get the price down to it's a 4% raise. So what for residential, it was $15.96, and now it's $16.60 a month.
Yes.
So that's what the 4% was. But you know, from their point of view in the business they're in, cost of labor's gone up, and of course cost of fuel has been bouncing all over the place, and those are two of their main things. And they actually told me the last couple of years they've had the same problems a lot of people had. It was tough getting new trucks.
Oh, yes,
So,
yes.
you know, for a while when people had trouble getting cars, well, it's even worse when you wanted some kind of big vehicle like a garbage truck, or we know it's the same thing in our business. So.
I wonder, does it take as long to build a garbage truck as it does a fire engine?
Well, I don't know about that, but it takes a while, I guess. I think the fire engine is very custom. It's amazing how long that takes. But,
Yeah, I remember
So.
it took forever to get what you needed with
Yeah.
the city.
So.
You know, we're gonna go to break here in a minute, but I wanted to thank you again and give a little shout out to the Arts Council quarterly honoring our artist.
Yeah.
That was a really nice thing, and thank you once again for having the Arts Council as part of the city. I know you're a arts advocate.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been real pleased with the Arts Council and the things they've done. Yeah, we just recently had honored our 3 artists of the month, and it was Tom Judson, who most people know, who really had some very impressive woodworking. I knew that he did that, but I had never seen so many of his pieces, and they really are impressive.
I think he does it for stress relief.
Yeah, yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah.
And then Beth Anderson, who I believe works in the pottery area, and then the third one I'm thinking.
Vicki Thurber.
Yeah,
with
Vicki
the,
Thurber. Yeah, she had some nice metal jewelry and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. She is Native American, and she's got gorgeous jewelry, but also works a lot with leather and feathers. You know what I thought was really cute with Beth, the potter? You know the little nuts? They look exactly like real nuts.
Yeah.
And remember her saying, yes, it's really fun to put them out in the woods and watch the squirrels try to get to the... Yeah, that was good. And thank you for doing that. We really appreciate that so much.
Yeah, it was a nice event.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. And my camera moved around, so I'm now trying to find it. Hi, guys. We'll be back in a few minutes. I couldn't find it. Hey, we're back. We've got several other things to let you know about today, so let's get started. You ready?
Okay.
All right, so a new thing that's potentially happening is a charter school, perhaps, for Bella Vista?
Yeah, we're still working in the charter school, and it's the people who have shown the most interest is Founders Classical Academy, and I just wanted to mention they're going to have another public meeting, and it's going to be on January 9 at 5:30 p.m. once again at the training room at the Public Safety Building on Forest Hills Boulevard. So, you know, that's been moving along, and they're aiming at fall of 2025. It takes a little time to get the state approvals and things like that, so they plan pretty far ahead. So that's coming up before you know it. You know, there's only one school year in between that. There's fall 2024 and then the next school year. So I was kind of encouraged the last meeting that there was some folks there with young kids and whatnot showing an interest. So
let's explain to folks again, because I think it's hard to understand. A lot of people are saying, oh, we don't need any more taxes for the city, blah, 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 for the schools. How are charter schools funded?
yeah, that's a good point. They actually, some people I've been told are confused. They think they're private schools, but they're actually public schools. And I guess the way it works is the state has so much money they give per student. I think it's $7,100, something like that now. It changes from time to time. And the charter school, people decide to go to the charter school rather than the another public school, and then that money follows the student, and that's where the charter schools get their funding. But they've become real commonplace in Arkansas because of a law change the last 5-10 years, and in a lot of places in the country. But one of the advantages I saw from our point of view is that it would, because this school's for younger kids, kindergarten through 6th grade, it would be closer, physically closer, more convenient. So I thought it was a good way to get a school that's closer and more convenient, and it's usually the charter schools are pretty strong schools. This particular one has a school in Bentonville and Rogers, and they've been real successful. So they all have, charter schools vary, they all have a little different philosophy, and I'm enthused about it. I think once it's going, people will really like it and like the convenience of it. So
yeah, it sounds like, well, we could use it. We do have 2 different school districts here, but still riding a bus for a long period of time sometimes isn't as much fun as it's cut out to be. Okay, so the election for the police millage.
Yeah, I know I sound like a broken record, but I want to keep bringing this up. You know, the election is the same time as the primary. It's March 5. And early voting starts February 20. And my understanding is we're going to have early voting at the Rec, which used to be called Reardon Hall, and also at the community church, which is on Lancashire, on just a little bit east of 71. So those are both kind of good central locations, because a lot of folks vote in Bella Vista, and a lot of them like to vote early. So I actually have seen a sample ballot, because they wanted us to make sure the wording was right. But our election is just for 1/2 mil for the police pensions. The cost of the police pension in this year, 2024, is going to be $640,000, and the current 1/2 mil brings in $314,000. So we're quite a bit short. So that's why we want to have the millage on, to get that other 1/2 mil, and then the revenue would be very close to the expense.
Kind of far behind. We just need to play catch up, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And the fire, some people might wonder why it's just the police. The fire's already at 1 mil, which is the most you're allowed to do. Okay. So, you know, I was saying the way that property taxes work, so much of it goes to the school. For instance, the particular ballot I saw, Gravett Schools was on there, and they have 39.5 mils. And the city gets 5.5 mils right now. So if we got this other 1/2 mil, it would be 6. So, so we get way less of the property tax compared to the schools. That's just the way it's set up in Arkansas.
Yeah, so. Well, that makes it a little bit more clear.
Yeah. I neglected to mention the most important thing. All the money from the millage goes to the police pensions. You can't use it for anything else. It's like restricted funds. And the cost to the average taxpayer is less than $19 a year. So, you know, people see it on there and think, oh, tax increase. But it's really a very small amount. So that's
And
helpful.
for a very important cause.
Yeah.
So, new construction at City Hall. Wow, we're finally getting that building started, renovated, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think we have a picture here in a minute of what it might look like. But
yeah. If they can put the picture up.
There we go. See?
Yeah, I'm focusing on the lower picture of the two. If you're headed north on the freeway and look to your left, that's the direction you're facing. You know, right now there's the 3 fire bays, and then they're going to add a couple more. But I'll talk you through it in levels. The first thing we've done is the old police station is on the far left there, and it's 2 stories, and we've demoed that, meaning it's first we checked and we knew it was good. This is back when Mayor Christie was still mayor. We knew it was good iron and in good shape. Mm-hmm. So that's why we decided to use it. So they've emptied it out because it was offices, and they're going to have the fire sleeping on the first level. And then the second level is the daytime living for the fire. You know, they do 48 hours on and 96 off. So they have a kitchen and, you know, place to sit, all the kind of things you'd have if you're going to be living somewhere a long time.
Yeah.
And they have the sleeping on the lower level because then when they have to do a call in the middle of the night, they're at the same level with the fire trucks. And it's, you know, the old days when you slid down the pole, they don't do it that way anymore.
Anyway.
So that's stage 1, doing that. That'll be about 6 months. Then the second stage, on the far left, out front, they're going to have a new City Hall, be about 3,000 square feet. And then on the second floor is the fire offices for the fire chief, the deputy, the building inspectors. So that's the only part that's new.
Okay.
And that's phase 2. They'll build that out front. And then on the far right is where City Hall is now. And phase 3 is they're going to fix those up and make it for community development, which is the folks that do the permits. They do building permits and permits for individuals and whatnot. And they get way more walk-in traffic. So then they'll be on the right-hand side, mm-hmm. which is right close to Lancashire, mm-hmm. you know, where people drive in. And while they're doing that, they're going to add 2 more bays. That's why they're going to have 5 bays there. And the 2 new bays are taller and longer because that fire station goes back quite a ways. And nowadays, bays are bigger. Mm-hmm. So that
trucks
way,
are bigger.
Yeah, the ladder truck fits in there well.
Yeah.
And so when it's all done, that'll be middle of 2025 probably by the time they complete all that. So the fire station number 1 will be in great shape, and community development and City Hall and fire offices will all be together. And the employees are very enthused about that. You know, a lot of times they work together on things and being in the same location. Mm-hmm. You know, in this day and age with all the fancy communication, there's still nothing like being face to face.
That's exactly right.
It really helps the people working together.
Exactly.
So.
Let's skip ahead a little bit here. Let's talk quickly about the Razorback extension. What's up with that? Are we going to be seeing something coming up with that?
Yeah, you know how we completed that Mercy Way Bridge, and mm-hmm. that got the Razorback Trail across the creek.
Gotcha.
Among other things. And then they're going to cut over behind Allen's, behind the shopping center there, and it's going to go up north and then cross over under the freeway at Reardon Road. So it's going to end up, you know, where Fat Tire is and whatnot on
Bluebird
Reardon.
Park.
Yeah, Bluebird. It'll end there. So I think that's going to make that park even more of a popular spot because it'll be the end of the for now. The end. We're planning eventually to go to the state line.
So I guess we're going to see that really soon at the POA.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that'll really be. I think at that park, it's going to be kind of become a little more of a focal point.
Well, and Marilyn is moving over there. We've talked about the sculpture that's now in front of Fire Station number 1 and moved over there, so she will have a permanent home.
Yeah, that's right.
So, okay, let's talk about going for grants in 2024.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, we're going to try to increase our efforts in trying to get grants and whatnot. And for instance, the street department is applying for a grant from the state of Arkansas, and it's for $300,000. It's for one road. So when they found that out, they tried to pick a long road.
Yeah, no kidding.
To get their money's worth. But normally you'll get that grant every 4 or 5 years or so if you keep applying. So our street department's working on that. And there's a grant that's from the federal government. A lot of these grants are worked through Regional Planning Commission, even though they're federal, so there's local people involved. And it's called Safe Streets for All. We're going to try to get a grant from them. And the idea is to help have more sidewalks or trails, whatever you want to call, hard surface trails, whatever you want to call them, next to the road.
Yes.
And we're going to focus on some of the busier roads. You know, people get a little frustrated, and it's only semi-safe if there's bicycles on the road in front of them. And so some of the busier roads, we're looking at trying to figure out how we can get a little more sidewalk activity and things off-road there, so you could walk or bike and not be on the street.
Yes.
So that's what that's about. And then we're also looking into having a solar grant, and we're going to focus first on the public safety building because it's big. And the federal government's throwing around a fair amount of money for solar grants, and but it's competitive. And so, you know, we're just going to make a commitment to try and go for a lot of different grants. And you know, you have to be prepared that you're not always going to get everyone you go for, but if you keep trying and keep shooting for it, you'll get some. So I think it's a way to help get things done and help out the taxpayers at the same time, you know.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, the solar grants, that's, maybe that'll help that public safety building with the what feels like people walking on the roof right now.
Oh, right.
The noise.
Well, we're looking into that problem also. We have the roof company involved in investigating that. It's been it's a little bit of a tricky time of year. You know, I was over there the other day, and because it was cold and it was winter, there wasn't any noise. So
it's sun related?
Yeah, we think it is, because it's a metal covering, and in the evening when the temperature is changing, in particular, it can make a challenge. So,
okay.
But yeah, there's some people in the roof company have some expertise, and we're trying to work with them to get that resolved. So people go to the meetings a lot, like yourself. Have noticed that?
Yes,
you know,
absolutely. It's like, what'd you say? Would you say that again? Because somebody's walking on the roof.
Yeah.
Not really. Okay, and I noticed that. Well, I lost my train of thought. I guess that's what happens to everybody every now and then, huh? It had something to do with the public service safety building. And, oh, I know what it was. We're going to start streaming in January, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've finally gotten some of the audio equipment in, and we're hoping to have a situation where the television station can live stream the meetings. They'll still be available later on recording, but people could watch them live if they're so inclined. So,
and that would be not the work sessions, just the regular meetings, correct?
Yeah, it's going to be the planning. We're going to start out
commission?
doing the planning commission meeting and the city council meeting, just the actual meetings. And, you know, if there's a demand or if it's active enough, then we might consider doing work sessions too. But we figured we'd start with the meetings and see how it goes. So.
Well, that'll be a big, big help. Well, we are almost out of time. Anything else you'd like to say other than happy holidays?
Yeah, well, I do hope everyone has a nice and safe Christmas and a happy New Year, and you know, just feeling really good about Bella Vista and grateful to the people of Bella Vista, because you know, we have a great safety record and a nice community, and people are, I find people are very happy with things and the way they're going. It makes me feel good if we're able to provide them with what they need to have a good city.
All right, well, I think we're out of time, but we will see you next month.